Yeah, I like how I'll say my words.
We're both live now, so say your words. Get your good words in.
I was gonna say that I just like how I guess nobody else can see this yet, so it's kind of moot. Uh, your desktop is sort of or your workspace looks like just a mess of desktop planning.
Uh, it almost looks like an airplane graveyard. Um, hey, we're live. Hey, we're live. Hey, everybody. I think we're live. Um, I do think we're live. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Friday. Happy Friday. Another really warm week, but what else would we expect? It's August, and here, a lot of us are sending our kids back to school, and just sort of transitioning, summer transitioning. So hope things are going well all across wherever you're at. I'm joined by
I hope that
my
it's
what's that? I was about to
I hope
introduce you,
it's
man. I
cooler
was gonna.
everywhere else is.
Oh,
Oh man, I messed up your flow. Go.
I was like, I'm joined by the best co-host, my best friend, the guy, the myth. I was gonna like give you this. No, it's
Total build
ruined.
up,
The best
wasting
co-host
everybody's
ever
time.
interrupts me all the time.
Uh, yeah, no, I listened to the stream last week, and I don't feel like I can fill the co-host shoes that you left before me.
I hear
Like
what
last,
you're saying, and I should stop doing these and just be a co-host. I think that's what you're saying.
I'm not saying that, but I'm going to say you did a great job last week.
Oh,
Very proud of
thank
you.
you.
Very proud of you.
I will say for out there, and I actually take this very to heart. I think it's true. Jody commented, he's like, you're a lot more lively when you're co-hosting and you're not drawing. I was like, I know my brain's not split 5 ways. I
Well,
don't
so
multitask.
yeah, I've watched you like in the office when you're doing your thing, and like your tongue is kind of sticking out, and you're just so in it when you're working on stuff that you have to try and get words out. You're having to do it around your fat tongue. So
It's hard.
whereas
Hey,
Aaron's tongue is out when he's not talking, so
yeah.
he's just always sort of for different reasons.
What are we doing today? What are we doing? I mean, we're just yapping. This is just you and me yapping. So let's just
Yeah,
do that.
I'm still disappointed that this isn't going to manifest as a P-51 Mustang, and instead it's going to be a wait, what is the well, I forget what the letters are
I
for a
don't
Spitfire.
know. It's a Spitfire. This one is a Spitfire Mark that. What is
Yeah,
that?
they had different
14?
naming stuff in oh okay, Mark 14.
But even this is maybe we'll get a chance, or maybe somebody in the chat can educate us, because the numbering on the Spitfires is really interesting, because you would think progressively that it would just be sort of like the next upgrade would be the next version, but in fact they have versions after this, I don't know, 15, 16, whatever, that were not upgrades. They were just, I guess it was harder to produce this version, so they were still producing older versions, but they did make modifications. So an older version produced with a modification became a version 16, even though a version 14 was more advanced because it had a different engine. It gets kind
Oh
of
geez.
really like it's a whole thing into itself. But yeah, we're gonna
Yeah,
model a
it's
Spitfire,
all right, all right.
World War II
I hope
Spitfire.
I hope that I like the picture like as you're kind of panning around there, you've got uh, a picture of a wing from the top and it's got all the separate aluminum panels. I'm hoping you're going to model every little panel like that.
No,
Rivets. I want to see rivets.
you know what? I'm gonna model hand-driven rivets. Each one is unique.
Nice.
That's how we roll.
Snowflakes.
Hey, everybody. Chat, let us know where you're coming in from. Please join in the chat. If you're new here, welcome to the Friday SketchUp live modeling. We like to do these most weeks, and we try to do something different and a little challenging and a little. Hopefully, we share something new, and we also expect to learn stuff as we go. I'm going to switch over so that I don't have to see my face. We can see the screen.
Yeah,
That's what people are here for.
That's right.
Not my face. So let me let's talk a little bit about this, about the what, how would we approach this? And I had an idea of what I wanted to do, and then that was based on modeling a P-51 Mustang and 109 BF-109, which is a plane from Germany. All of these being World War II era planes. But the Spitfire was throwing a few curve balls, and I literally mean curves, that I thought, it's going to be difficult to do in the way I had planned. So we're going to be in experimental territory today. I don't know how everything is going to work, but let's look at what our challenge is. So here's a model. This was off of ArtStation. Thank you, Carlo Sestra. And what I mean by that is, so the fuselage, I think that's what this is called. If it's called something different, just correct me. But the body of the plane moves back, and it has kind of some shapes that are moving in and out, and the wings, the way the wings attach into that body, this sort of transition, that was going to be difficult to do with the way I had originally planned. There's a couple other obtrusions. Is that right? I don't know.
That's a new word to me. So
you know what? I should label this. This is thing 1. This is thing 2. This is thing 3. This is how we are going to label everything. These are all things.
Okay.
Yeah, makes sense, right?
I must have done a plane at some point with Aaron, because I do remember that it becomes obvious really quickly that everyone playing along at home is considerably more knowledgeable about so many of these topics.
Yeah.
So it's good. We'll all work together. It takes a village and all that.
All that.
We'll be the village people.
So if anyone out there has done something like this, let's do a quick sort of overview of one method that you might take, and then we will kind of jump into again, like I say, dangerous waters where things might or might not work. We'll find out. But as you can see, I've set up and created a few references to give us a head start, where I've just brought these images in, traced them, and Aaron's done a scale builder. In fact, I think he's also done a live session where you talk about bringing in images and overlaying images to do this, but having the geometry to snap to or reference can also just be nice. So a lot of times I'll like to just spend a little bit of time tracing some basic geometry and start from there. So, you know what else I
Look at that, you already have done.
I know, right? I realized, I was like, why pretend like we were going to model the Spitfire, kind of like it was. Let's say we're modeling a laser cut version, right, that you just assemble and go out and throw in the air. Let's do that instead. That way we're there. That way we are half done.
So wait, so that does then beg the question: are you going to 3D print this guy when you're done? Are you going to laser cut it? What's going to happen?
You went there.
Yeah.
No,
that's my job.
I'll tell you why. This thing's going to be full of holes.
Nice, like at the end of World War II.
Oh yeah.
World War II. Yeah.
Oh.
Boom.
Ouch.
Zing. Bazinga.
No kidding.
See, there's so many facts popping up here, and they're in paragraph form, so I
Oh,
can't even keep up here. Back to
I
the bike, flew a tiger moth yesterday. That's actually pretty cool.
flew a what?
A tiger moth? Isn't that a biplane? Now I gotta go look it
Tiger
up.
moth.
Yeah, back to
There
bikes in the
was
UK where such
wow.
things exist.
Um, yeah. So again, we're just gonna do. Let's just do a little bit of a preliminary, like this is how we could approach it version.
So, like whenever I watch you start to do these, it always reminds me of it takes me back to that first video like I watched you do a speed build of, which was a tractor.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
and I think back at the time I was just blown away by the idea of, maintaining symmetry and just modeling half the thing. Now I imagine there are parts of this plane that are asymmetrical though, right? Exhaust on one side or
There's not much. There's a few protrusions, I think, that are, but for the most part, I think we're going to stay wholly symmetrical on this one.
wholly symmetrical.
Wholly symmetrical. So, for anybody who this should look kind of familiar, but yeah, so this method, as long as you are scaling in one axis, so I'm taking this surface and using the scale tool, it will sort of stretch that, and then I can keep pulling, and then take this, scale the top, and I want to be very careful that I leave this center alone, because if I accidentally, let's say, scale from the center point here, and I don't notice it, then I keep going, then I keep going. Well, I am going to mirror this, and now I've messed up this one side. So the important part when you're doing this method is that you're just careful to scale without interfering with that center line. That's really key. And then it just depends on how much detail you want to get, that you'd be like, how do I want to create this curve and give this curve more detail, or am I creating kind of just the general idea of it? When it's all smooth, it'll look fine anyway. So depending on what your needs are, you can create a pretty decent looking model, and actually fairly quickly. So this is what I had planned to do. As you see, like, we can create the basic shape of this pretty well. And we may not need, like, it might be best at this point to create a wing differently. One other thing, actually, I'm glad I did this, just to point this out. This, if you ever want to come back in and modify some of these edges, which you may want to do, I can come back, say, to here, and with a careful selection, grab that, use the scale tool, and still be kind of working and tweaking in my original kind of methodology, and it works. If you scale just from the top or bottom, you may not necessarily, when you push pull, create this edge right here if you've have a shape like I do. Depends on how you draw it, but you want that to be there. So if you need to come back in the future and select this, well, now I don't have that edge here. It's gonna get weird. So one thing, if you're doing this method, is if you're not scaling, if one of these, like this one, you're not necessarily scaling from the center point, which that's where you create that kind of center edge, then use the Option or Control key on PC to pull out a new version, or make sure and add that edge later. It's just one of those things that gives you a little bit of security so that you can go back later and work on that edge.
Are we going to a little homage to Aaron and start stitching stuff here real soon?
You know what? In this method, we would definitely be stitching because somehow we have to make this transition to the wings, and that would cause us some grief. And so we're going to need to do some manual stitching for sure. However,
Nice.
we're not going to hang out and finish this out. I wanted to show this method because it's a really good method. If we hide our geometry, grab this and smooth it, we can get a pretty decent, like, yeah, we're looking good already. And we start adding some wings and add details on. And this method is great. I use it a lot. It's definitely one that if you haven't done, you should practice it. You know, if we some things like this where you're like, oh, the cockpit needs, like, now we have to sort of cut this off somewhere here. And then we'll have to go back and sort of transition that piece in. But it still works.
It looks good so far. Looks better than any plane I've modeled.
Oh, don't say that, Jody. What about the
Messerschmitt? I just wanted to say the word Messerschmitt.
Nice. Thank you for saving me because I had nothing.
Yeah. I don't know how you didn't have Messerschmitt just queued up in your brain.
Right. Look, here's what I just talked about. I didn't have that edge there. It starts to mess it up. So you do want...
So Aaron, I don't know if it's hard to tell if Aaron's being a smart aleck or not here. So they were thinking about doing this with an octagon and then subdividing. So now you can say that's absurd or and then we can sort of work our way backwards as to whether or not we trust that lad to be speaking the truth to us.
Well, no, I totally. So another method that we could use, obviously, if we were comfortable doing it, yeah, is a little subdivision. I think it would be really interesting to try this and do it subdivision. I'm not going to.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean it's a solid method. Let me just get past this part and then we'll sort of bail out on this one. But in this method, we would sort of have the wing profile. We'd do that, and we'd have a number of pieces, and then we'd sort of just be building them together. Totally solid method for doing this type of modeling. I want to see, just to be sure, I'm going to group this temporarily so that I can move it up here. Scale it.
We must have done some sort of fighter before, because I feel like I've also then made this comment before, which was whenever I was a teenager or a preteen, my mom worked at a oil company, and her boss is a small oil company in Oklahoma, and her boss owned a restored Corsair. And my fantastic thinking, silly little me was just like, oh, what if her boss decided to, because I wanted to be a pilot back then, before they tested my eyes, I wanted to be a pilot.
Oh,
I'm like, maybe he'll like my mom so much he'll give it to me, because obviously that's what you do, right?
That's what you do.
You give your priceless
your stuff to your coworkers' kids. That's exactly right.
Yep. Didn't work out.
Oh, it didn't? I thought for sure that was oh man.
Yeah. Now I resent that guy. I think I do. I don't know. But those were cool planes. That would be a fun one to do. That, or like a Harrier, things that have like just behave all weird from other planes. Yeah, do that.
We could break it up. All right, so yeah, I hope so we could keep going on that. We've given ourselves a little bit of space to work with over here on the cockpit. Let's just create a quick mirror.
Katie said there was a recent video featuring a ferry swordfish torpedo bomber, and I feel like I missed something there. Now I've got to go back. Actually, I'm gonna drop out and go and see if I can find such a video. Just have questions on so many levels.
The ferry swordfish, we did that because I've created a wooden, kind of simplified, Here's a side topic. Jody, rightfully so, gives me a little bit of a hard time because I still sometimes make wooden toys, but my kids are way outgrown that phase. But I have made a ferry swordfish wooden toy plane. So that's fun. Okay.
I feel like you're saying I'm throwing shade, but you're the one that is completely self-deprecating when you talk about your wooden toys. I would like to see you actually make some of these things. You've talked about it for so long. I want to see it.
I have made it.
More than one? Wait, have you brought it into the office? Have I held it in my hands? No.
Okay. That's totally fair. Totally fair. All right. I'll have to amend that. So just to wrap up that point, if we look at these are examples, they're really great examples. There's a number of models in the warehouse. So if we look at the geometry of this, I think we can pretty safely say that this probably used that same method where they had a profile, brought it forward, changed the profile a bit, but it creates actually a really nice low poly model. I think the wings they would have done in that way, and then they came in and did a little bit of custom work in through here. But that's what we're going to have to end up doing. Same thing here. But it's a great method. If we look at this, totally a good looking model, and it's going to be more low poly than what we create, and I don't know that the one that we're going to try and create is going to look all that much better.
So we'll clean it up in post.
Yeah, so stick with that method. And just to show, I think there was another example similarly here, where again you've taken these large sections, pulled them, scaled them.
Both Keggy and Andy are wondering if you're going to save. Now I'm looking at that and I see. Oh wait, you just did it. Sorry, I didn't even look at the screen.
So I'll give you a point for us to save. Thank
you. Wait, yeah, you're jumping between files. You hadn't saved.
I'm jumping.
You're now new files.
I'm just showing some examples. Okay, now in this
you can't sleep on the job when I'm working with you because
I'm all over.
Over the place.
All right, so depending on the references you can find, here I've got some cross sections that we'll use as reference. I think what we're going to try to do, again, just trying something a little bit different, we're going to do a lot of the same thing where we're creating transitions between cross pieces. But we're going to use Fredo's Curviloft to help create some of the transitions between, I guess, more difficult sections. And see if we can create a little bit more detail in there. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, I don't know. But let's take sort of some of the pre-built stuff we have here. and assemble it together. Here's one more thing, and I'm actually curious if anybody out there has used methods like this where you're taking a cross section, you're push pulling, you're scaling, you're push pulling, you're scaling. When I build my cross sections like that, in this case, all of these, I started one, and I have a little straight at the top and bottom. I like to keep a little strip that is on the axis. I feel like that just creates, because sometimes when you join these pieces together, if you've started with an arc, then you might know that arcs don't start out straight. So once you put two arcs together, you have this tiny little ridge that sometimes creates a little bit of a eyesore when you're rendering it or looking at it, because it just creates this tiny little ridge. So I like creating a straight piece on my sections if I can. That's just a personal preference, not a requirement. But I'd be curious if there's other ideas around, creating these sections like that out there. All right, so let's build this up, and then we'll kick it to a new file and save and see what we got. There's our wing profile.
All right, Andy's out. Andy's going to go enjoy a pint. So now we're down one plane expert. Everybody else is going to have to kick up their plane knowledge.
Oh man, we're down to 3 people left. You, me, and Aaron. Just kidding. Matt's here too. And all of them are like, what are you doing?
How did I get roped into this?
Yeah. Do I want to set these up?
So, did we establish that the main thing that kind of got all this going was your recent Top Gun fun?
I did go watch Top Gun, but this goes back a couple of weeks.
Yeah, no, I know.
But
it's always been about Top Gun.
Well, I forget who brought it up, but in one of our past sessions a couple weeks ago, I think I was working with Matt on that one, but it came up that somebody had watched Top Gun recently, and I hadn't seen it yet. But because of that, some of the suggestions from our illustrious crowd suggested doing some of the planes from the Top Gun movie, and one of them that's is sort of a plane that Maverick is working on is a P-51 Mustang. So we thought, let's do that. Matt and Aaron then, using the old scientific method, went through and did a Google. They found out that on a Google search, actually a Spitfire gets a lot more traffic than a Mustang. So the thought was, you know what, we should. If that's what the people want, that's what we should do.
Yeah, since we didn't ask the audience, since we didn't poll the actual people attending this thing, I could be completely wrong too. Just because Matt read it on the internet doesn't mean it's true.
That doesn't compute those words you just used.
Yeah, well,
I don't understand what you just said.
It is what it is.
But
yeah,
we listen.
no,
the point is we listen.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Good on you for listening. I still think that the Mustang looks cooler than the Spitfire. And as I was saying earlier,
fired.
Whenever I think Spitfire, I always think of a couple of rappers just sort of talking smack before they start rapping. And so now I feel like you should be rapping for the remainder of this the show.
You really think that?
Not really. I've heard you rap before.
I'm gonna save everybody that pain.
Oh, look at that. Matt threw up a poll. Oh, courtesy of Matt for putting proof in the pudding. He put up a poll, and the Spitfire 67% to 33% on my Mustang.
Oh, wow. It's like he's just grabbing you and smacking you. Jody, you are wrong.
Yeah, I guess so. Jeez. Hey, in addition to Matt being here, Eric is here too. And Eric was confused whenever I mentioned or suggested that the internet might not be right. But yeah. Matt then went and proved the internet's right. So what do I know? What do I know?
Apparently not much, buddy. Apparently. I mean,
sound like my parents.
Oh.
Womp womp. Way to make it sad. Heavy.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. I don't want it to be sad and heavy. I want it to be happy and light and go lucky.
All of those things.
Yeah.
Okay. This should... I have to tweak these, but... Alright,
wait.
This should give us what we need. What?
Aaron, you know Aaron from work, just posts who is modeling next week. Wouldn't you think that he would know that?
He does know that. He's teeing us up. Since you just brought up Eric, hey everybody, you heard it here first.
Oh, maybe he was. Oh no, he did ask. He did have a question mark. Eric's modeling next week?
Eric is going to step into the hot seat. Eric is going to bring it.
Does Eric know what he is getting himself into?
I think at this point he thinks he still thinks it's fun, and and he does not. I think he is entirely naive on that.
Yep. Well, I guess that's
I said it,
the confidence of youth.
It's right.
Well, that's exciting. What are you going to model for us?
Naivete.
What are you going to model for us, Eric?
Okay, well, here's a little spoiler as well. Eric is not going to model so much.
Wait.
I know this is live modeling.
Does Eric know what these Friday sessions are?
I know.
Because if you don't have to model, maybe I'll do one.
Oh, good call. Well, I'll tell you what he's doing. Turns out Eric is our resident expert on rendering and V-Ray. And whenever we bring V-Ray up, and I horribly crash when I try to show it, Eric is actually going to give us a little bit of a V-Ray session. So next week is going to be on rendering and V-Ray, and bring all your questions, your most difficult ones, your most personal ones, anything you can to make Eric's first session absolutely horrible. Bring it.
All right.
We want to scare him good.
Crush his spirit?
Crush him.
Scare him. Okay.
That's right.
Wow. You know he can hear you, right?
Oh. I do know that. He knows I mean every word I say.
Okay. Noted. Yeah, okay. Well,
so yeah,
that'll
be fun. Yeah?
I'm gonna be eager to see how that goes, and find out whose plus one's gonna be.
Do you want to? Or
maybe he'll just do the whole thing. He'll do the whole thing solo.
That's what I thought. I thought, why, let him swim
If you're gonna be
with the
if you're gonna be
sharks.
arrogant, you might like just go all in on your cockiness.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So come on back next time for a little bit of Eric roast.
Now, someone asked if he was the new face of uh, Skill Builders. Did he do a Skill Builder too?
You know what? He totally did. He has done some skill builders.
Jeez.
The
So
the new
he already has this whole
face.
thing figured out.
Ah.
And thanks, Bill, for proving that people do watch the Skill Builders. I guess Aaron is. Aaron's ideas are not so bad. Aaron being the Skill Builder guy. That guy.
That guy. Well, Aaron is, and is still that guy, the SketchUp guy. But trying to kick out a skill builder every week, he finally said, "Hey, Eric,
If you
do
think
it."
you're so hot,
Yeah.
right? So he was spitting fire on, trying to challenge Matt to be the next big thing. Okay, all right. Or, I mean, not Matt, Eric. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Exactly.
Okay. So Kagi knows we don't talk about the graphics cards. Oh, I guess maybe we also don't talk about the Cobra. Kagi said as long as he doesn't try and render a graphics card, then we should be good.
Yeah.
Which I completely agree with.
I made that mistake. It was a Cobra. I had thought briefly. I thought that Aaron was so eager to make this a Spitfire because it was a Mustang car that he had so horrendously obliterated. But no, It was a Cobra, so my theory was wrong.
Okay.
But
well, maybe next week Eric will render this vehicle.
maybe so. Well, let's get some suggestions. What should Eric render? What should we make Eric do with that V-Ray? If he's not modeling, let's put him under pressure. What can he render that is a challenge?
I'll be honest, I am excited to see this. Just an effort at rendering on here. Yeah, so I feel like that'll be a little bit tricky, just because rendering is it's a process. It's not. There's a whole lot of sitting there and watching your screen.
That is one of those things. Yeah, it's gonna have to overcome. Booyah!
Booyah indeed. Wait, booyah. Let's see. Okay, so now I'm trying to remember what the hurricane was. So Rico
as a plane?
said, yeah, high five to anyone that can tell him what the Spitfire and Hurricane have in common, besides being a plane.
Do they have a? Well, do they have a similar model? Do they have a similar? Engine? Because the part of they swapped engines partway through. That's part of what made this one different than earlier models of it. So I don't know.
Well, I have to wait for him to come back now to confirm. But Bill and Brad both suggested it's a Merlin engine.
Mm.
Now, my main thoughts on a Merlin engine, that sounds just magical, right?
I know.
You're a wizard, Harry. You're a Harry wizard.
A wizard.
I was just talking with my daughter last night, and for some reason, who played Frodo?
Elijah Wood.
Elijah Wood came up, and she was like, that guy, he does some weird stuff. And I was just like, both he and Daniel Radcliffe, who are often mistaken anyway, just for appearance. But both of them, they just made a mint in their youth, in the early 2000s, with their franchises, that they have the luxury of just kind of, they can do whatever the heck they want, and they have both proven that time and again that they are just going to pick whatever the heck they want to film. They are beholden to no genre, and they are not too proud for any show.
I think it's pretty fascinating. It seems for both of them, but for a lot of actors too, right? Like, who are afraid of, if you play a major role, you don't want to then be pigeonholed.
Yeah.
And so didn't Daniel Radcliffe, like, he went to the stage and got naked in some stuff to be like, I'm not just Harry Potter.
Oh yeah, no, he definitely kicked off his own thing. But I think that, I think if you do it right, you can be sort of like Chris Evans, right? I mean, he has been dealing with being Captain America for a while now. But did you see that new
The
that new movie on
Gosling?
Yeah.
I did.
He's definitely not Captain. That's not America's butt.
He looks so great with that awful mustache.
Let's be clear. He doesn't look great. He is completely embracing how not great that mustache is. You can't call it an awful mustache and say he looks great.
Yes, I can.
Right?
Yes, I can.
Okay, you did, but you're wrong.
Well, I mean,
okay.
But great means like he's an awful person in the movie. He's an awful villain, just completely
with an awful mustache.
Absorbed, and the mustache kind of helps make that happen. So that's why I say great. Like it really works really well.
Okay, so let's look back here. So Kegi says it was a Merlin 266 produced by Packard Motor Company in the U.S. And then Lawrence said it was a V12 27-liter. These guys both just went and hung out on the Wikipedia, I'm telling you. Produced 1,800 horsepower. 1,800 horsepower is insane. Huh.
So
that's a lot of horsepower.
Let's go back for a moment, just to, like you quipped early on that motor is magical. It was U.S. produced, and they still used the name Merlin. I mean, was that just?
Yeah,
Come on! I thought for sure that was UK.
Yeah, I'm not judging anyone.
I'm not judging. I'm saying
Kegi thought you were going to use Curviloft for this project.
Hey, Kegi.
Where's the Curviloft?
You are apt to call me out on that. This is going to be a mix, and hey, but you know what else? I wanted to establish early. I'm going to disappoint everybody when this doesn't work. So
if it makes you feel any better, I'm always disappointed in you, Tyson.
Oh, it does actually. Thank you. Here's where we are going to start using Curviloft. So
Art Studio RT Cool said that the U.S. licensed the design. So designed probably over the pond, built over here. Probably in Motor City. Wait, Rolls-Royce designed it? What? Okay, Matt's getting crazy with the polls today. Drippy was wondering why we don't upload models anymore. And Matt's now wanting to know if we want this in the 3D warehouse. We want everything in the 3D warehouse.
You better wait till we're done before you decide.
Okay, fine.
I am trying to way lower expectations here. Isn't anybody picking up on that?
I think the problem is that you have some of that, not quite imposter syndrome, but you talk smack about your skills, but then you on your worst day completely trashes me on my best day. So not only is it insulting to me whenever you act like you're not amazing, it's an insult to everyone.
Oh, well, you know what? Why
Wow.
insult just one person when you can insult everybody? I mean, come on.
Touche, touche. I am always looking for a way to piss more people off with fewer words.
Right?
It's all about efficiency.
And you are generally pretty good at that, buddy.
Sweet, sweet. Keggy said he's only here to see you fail. And then he said he's only kidding.
I feel that. Okay, so we're getting close to failing. So to use Curviloft, so let's just, the if the sections we have, right? If we were to just say, okay, let's use Curviloft. I'll select both of these, use it. Okay, I'll select both of these, Curviloft. This one has this bubble canopy. and I think it's no surprise that, like, okay, well, yeah, Curviloft is working, but we don't have enough iterations. If we had more cross sections, that'd be awesome. We're gonna have to make them up. That's where we're doing a mix over here on the tail where it's more simplified. We'll just do the old method. But as we work our way through, we'll use this method, and then we'll try to make up as best we can some of these other sections. But the wings, yeah, like this tail, I'm still going to use that old method. I'm going to use it on most of this wing, and then we'll see if we can transition between the wing and the body of the plane. But yes, I said we'd do Curviloft. I have so far been a liar. So,
Well, we're just getting going, so
yeah. We still got time to, like I say, to get everything to horrifically fail. We got time. We'll get there. I don't know who was it that left to go get a pint. If they come back, they just need to come back in an hour, and this whole thing's gonna look like this and just be some awful, aberration.
I will be honest, there's always a small part of me that hopes that just kind of the whole thing just sort of implodes. Not even just when you do it, but like you or Aaron, like, and I don't know what it is. It's a bit of, I don't want to see you guys suffer for the failing, but it's always an interesting idea. It's always a sort of an amusing idea for me.
It's always a real possibility.
Ooh.
For sure.
Everybody's talking about how hot it is. I have to go calculate what my daily 97 degrees is. It's supposed to finally rain next week.
Oh, yes, please.
36 degrees Celsius. It's what it's been pretty much every day for at least the past week to 10 days. Oh. Yeah, Lawrence, I know it's schadenfreude, but I don't want to watch. I don't want to see them suffer so much as, like, if I could do it without them suffering. It's the suffering part. I'm not interested in the suffering part. So, yeah, it does make for good TV, as Scott points out. I ran out of water. I'm gonna go fill up my water bottle. So you say clever things all solo while I'm gone. I'll be back.
All right, everybody. Here's where we really go off the rails then. That is not what I want. these pieces aren't what I want yet, but let's do a little experiment because let's just see if like how badly, you know, if we were to try and create the seat and transition that, let's just sort of see what happens with a rough version. Oops, I got sloppy somewhere. Poor Jody. I'm not running out of water. However, in my arrogance, I am spilling it all over myself. So Jody's not even here to call me on it. Okay, what's this look like? It's gonna look weird. But it might work. Might. Oops. Now, I think it'll work. In theory, it should work. Now we get into, okay, how many transitions do we create based on the time we have? And Jody, you missed it, man. We were just having a rip-roaring time, you know, like just jokes, and the drinks were flying. It was awesome.
Nice. Flying drinks.
Yeah.
This is like Harry Potter. Butterbeers.
Butterbeers are freaking delicious. I mean, I don't know what the real ones are, but at Harry Potter World, that is.
Yeah, I'm so jealous of all the people in the UK that get to drink that all the time.
Oh yeah, right. Like everybody, right? You don't have water fountains, right? You just have butterbeer fountains, right?
Exactly.
That's fact. That's not.
Oh, okay. Here's a question for you. What do aircraft and 3D modeling programs have in common?
I don't know. You gonna try it?
I'm not even guessing.
I am.
I'm reading back on what I missed.
I'm gonna make this. Okay, now somebody better tell us, because meantime we're just hanging out here looking silly. I mean, more than usual.
I don't know if this is like him sort of wishing a save upon you or what, but he said they both sometimes crash.
Very good. Save. Done. Thank you. That was nicely transitioned.
Yeah. Well done. But we're not even messing around with plugins yet, so we should be good. You're not stitching, you're not almost done. None of the standard reasons for a proper crash are even present right now, so.
Yeah. All right, let's bring this. Part of what I want to not have to mess with this wing just yet, so I need to change this profile. And all of these are Scale, yay, scale. Sometimes you go where I want you to, and a lot of times you don't.
It's fun. It's fun to imagine that these things have a mind of their own. Or
Doesn't
do
it?
they have a mind of their own?
Oh, I tend to think so. You know what? I'm going to copy this version and lose these ones. And no. I definitely think so. Sometimes in a good way, sometimes in a really frustrating way.
Lawrence keeps talking about how nice it is where they are, doors open and stuff. I was looking, so I was recently talking to Mark Harrison, you know Mark, product manager for SketchUp, and he recently moved away from Boulder and from Colorado to be up in Oregon, close to his wife's family. And so on a lark, because he didn't mention any numbers, but he was talking about selling the house that he's currently in, or selling the house that he owned in Boulder, and what that was then in turn able to buy him in Oregon. So anyway, the point of my story is I could get a lot more. I could get a lot more stuff and actually have rain sometimes. It's like the climate for Oregon, the area in Oregon that I end up looking at is literally a low of 31. This is Fahrenheit, and a high of maybe 90 if it's being bad. And I'm just like, oh, why do I live in a high desert when I could live someplace where it's just always so nice? Haven't got my wife on board yet for moving to Oregon yet.
Well, that would be moving away from the in-laws, right? I mean,
yeah, there's good and there's bad for sure. But you know, it's funny. I haven't even been up there to the I say Pacific Northwest. What was the comment? I saw a comment a minute ago, because it's technically it would be the Pacific Northeast, but the U.S. Northwest, right? Pacific is it goes all the way from Canada to Mexico, and it's North Pacific, sure, but it's west would be on the other side over there, wouldn't it?
Man, I
don't know. Anyway, so did your kids go back to school this week? Was it first day of school?
They did. They're all back now. So.
Oh, that's right, because you don't do Fridays.
We don't do Mondays.
Oh, okay. Nice. That's a good way to avoid getting a case of the Mondays.
For our particular area is on a 4-day week, and actually I love it. Let's just adopt that across the world. 4-day work week, 4-day school. How do we make that happen? It's pretty great.
I don't know. I'm not opposed to it, for sure. I saw something last night about. I'm sorry. I went back into the P&W. Washington State is apparently looking into going with universal basic health care, or universal health care, which is it was crazy. All but like the points that they make are such valid points. I was basically looking at their marketing stuff. I don't know what it's called, and yeah, seems like such a great idea.
Oh, I don't know hey. We've got people from all across the world that could jump in on their thoughts on that.
Yeah,
you have to take our word for it.
It's true. Wait.
and I could be wrong about this, and forgive us for like we got to dance around political stuff, but didn't California have a pretty, hey, we're going to do that too, but they can't actually get it done even in California where they have the supposed
All the
votes.
support they need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
So while I can hear you, it looks like maybe others are not hearing you so well.
Oh no.
Can you get your mic closer to your face?
That's about as close as it gets. I can up my volume a little bit, so that is.
All right. Let's see what that does.
Let
see
me
if that
know
does what we need it to do.
Let me know if you want more. I will up and make it work. This is one of those. There's I'm like you said, sort of figuring out the way that we go as we go. I don't love how this is turning out, but might not, necessarily have the bandwidth to fix it.
Is it too late to pivot? Too soon to pivot?
Pivot. Let's. But I don't know if again, if it fails horribly, then you were warned.
So I saw earlier, coming back to this, there's a comment about the bubble cockpit being a challenge to model. Are you how confident do you feel in that process? Maybe that's when we get to use Curviloft.
You know what? That could be one of these things that really cause us some grief. We shall see. Oh, I wanted those to be flat. Yeah, you're right. It could be. But it could also be a case where, honestly, I just cheat, or not cheat, but just create a sphere, stretch it, tweak it, and just stick it in.
Bop it to start.
Yeah, bop it to start.
Does everybody know about Bop It? Is that a universal thing at this point, or is that a cultural thing? I don't.
I mean, I guess that's a question for all our friends across the globe, because certainly here we all do.
Yeah. Well.
I'm at the point in this model where I'm kind of like, oh, was this a bad idea? I could keep going with this. But, like, trying to add more detail, I think adds, I don't know. Let's call it the uncanny valley of this airplane. Adding more detail might make this thing just look like a lumpy airplane. And so trying to get clever and make it more interesting, it just maybe, nope,
okay.
Bad idea. So
all right.
I feel like that's where we're at on this one, is this is going to be a lumpy plane that we thought. You saw, okay, so don't do this. That was the experiment, right?
Well, I think, gosh bless you for trying. And apparently, Bop It must be a U.S. thing because
Oh,
Paul and Bill, uh, Emily, like all none of these people seem to know. So it's a this simple game that has like a thing that you can yank. It's got a controller attached to it and a thing you can slap or bop, as the case may be, or a thing you can twist. And it's literally just this guy, this radio announcer sounding guy that just bop it to start and to start playing with this game. You bop the button, and then he tells you different things to do, and you have to react in a certain amount of time and either twist it or pull it or flip it, or I don't even remember what all of his things are. But I feel like everybody is at least on some level played it a little bit. So
is kinetic the right word? Like, it's a really fun kinetic game. It's very, very touchy.
I feel like, is it really fun is probably the better question, because I don't really like it. My wife my wife loved it. I never liked it.
Oh, well, you're grouchy.
Yeah, that's what it is. Completely. It's similar to Simon Says, yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly. And yeah, like kind of like Simon Says, it just speeds up as you go, and it gets harder to be like you have to, your reaction time has to get faster, where you have to bop it, twist it, push it, pull it.
It's
All
not
of those
that
things.
I hate it. I just don't stay amused with it. I think my wife got up to 100. It was because it tells you when you get to like certain milestones. But you can't pause it. You can't take a break. You're in
No,
it to
you're
win it,
in
dog.
it. Uh,
Okay, so Keggy's talking about had to wait 19 months for the first knee replacement, and then 5 years ago. Oh, I messed it up. So my comment mostly just to even notice that they're talking about knee surgery is, have you
oh
watched
man.
Only Murders in the Building this week?
Oh, I haven't seen the most recent one, probably.
There's a great bit where Martin Short and Steve Martin are talking about knee surgeons in New York and how important it is to find a great one, and just the fact that they could be connoisseurs of knee surgeons sort of cracks me up.
Yeah. Oh man.
I think maybe part of that knee surgery comment was just because of the universal healthcare.
Well, if you guys have had knee replacements, then my folks have both had knee replacements. They weren't fun.
I
Happen at a certain time, though.
Yeah,
Man.
I guess I shouldn't be talking about how I'm lucky to have not had that yet, because I for the longest time kept saying, "Oh yeah, no back problems for me," and then back problems for me started.
Uh,
You know about that. I certainly won't shut up about that ache and pain.
it certainly does not want to be like, oh yeah, I come and go. It just wants to hang around. Boo.
Yeah, yeah. So Cyanide 2020 said they were just looking at some pictures of Spitfire and they don't see any of the complex geometry that you're working on currently. That the fuselage is smooth right there. But you're doing all this based on actual technical drawings, right? Like that's how you got your profiles.
Yes, but I am interpolating, and yes, like we're, again, if we, it's, you're right. Like it could be that I am adding stuff in here that's totally not there. I can't see the little piece I'm adding. I'm right here, and then there's this piece that protrudes, which gives us our engine exhausts. Underneath here, I'm not sure what that geometry does. There's a scoop, a center scoop, and then there's one under each wing. So you could be entirely correct. I could be, but yeah, it's based on technical drawings that I'm trying to interpolate between. Oh, you know what? I totally did this wrong. The way that this, yeah, I did that wrong. Very cool.
Man.
So wrong.
Do
Man.
you think, so this is a legit question. Do you think that Spitfire pilots, and they would do so obviously with an English accent, make comments about feeling the need for speed whenever they're walking out to their plane? And
Okay. How many people can we either offend or make laugh horribly if we start trying to do some bad English accents? And yeah. Oh, I feel the need. That's saucy. That's bad. I can't do it.
I mean, like, so here's, anytime I think about people doing
need
accents,
for speed.
and yeah, it sounded Jamaican. Every time I think about accents and sort of how they can fail, I'm always reminded of Matt's inevitable evolution into JFK. Right? Then don't all of his accents end up becoming
Our Matt?
kind of got this. Yeah.
You know what I hear Matt as? Doc. Because Matt does a good Doc impression from Back to the Future. And when he like does some other stuff, I sometimes hear Doc.
Okay. I'm not asking for what he does a good impression of. I'm talking about whenever he tries to do an impression, a regional impression rather than a specific character impression. Yeah, there he goes. Matt says that's end game. JFK.
Nice.
Which I can't now say JFK without thinking AFK. What is the internet? What has the internet done to me?
That's what you were just 30 minutes ago. You were AFK, getting some water.
That's right. I also got some pistachios, so if I'm crunching, let me know.
You know what? How we? Oh man, I need to get this going. I don't. This piece back here, we're gonna have to just. I don't know how. I don't know how to do that. I mean, I'm willing to like poke at it and then we'd figure it out, but not now.
Yes. I'm disinclined to try and repeat this because I can't quite follow what Lawrence just said. It looks like, yeah, I don't know, man. It's like it's all English words, but it's not a sentence. I don't know what's going on. What's going on, Lawrence? It's almost like you just had a stroke. Sorry, no offense to anyone who's had a stroke. Yeah, whenever I get thinking about it though, like for me to do an accent, I end up having a word, and I think most people do this, right? Like you have a word or a phrase that you know, and you'll say that, and that sort of puts you in that, right? Like if you're going to do Australian, if you start with crikey, then it's fairly easy to, well, I mean, it's subjectively easy to kind of stay Australianish.
Right.
But a while back we had some guys over from the, what was that modular house thing that we did at Maker Faire?
Oh, way back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they were from the UK.
Yeah, and they managed to do a pretty decent American accent, and they said like one of the key words for them that really sort of kicks it off is awesome. Because Americans like to use the word awesome.
Awesome.
Doesn't sound like the way you just said it, but yeah.
Yeah.
Like it is very much not an English use. So I thought that was good fun.
That is fun.
So Dante's asking if this is the Mark 22/24, or are they wrong? And I think the reality is this is a Mark Tyson, right? This could be a
That's
little bit of
true.
multiple different. You're looking at some pictures which could be one version, and
That and I found that as I started trying to combine blueprints, I was like, either just the blueprints or the versions. There was one image I found. Um, I thought was kind of this one. I think this and this, which is just sort of trying to say, here's all the versions of Spitfires and some of the subtle or not so subtle differences, including, I believe, again, correct me, like original ones had a smaller nose. They had three of these exhausts coming out, but the engine they changed in this one meant they elongated, so this is longer. They upped the number of propellers,
yeah.
blades in the prop. So like it went from three. Some of them have four. This one has five. So yeah, which version it is? I think you're right.
It's
It's
a
the
Frankenfire, Spitfirenstein or something.
uh-huh.
Well, at least Keggy confirmed that they don't understand what Lawrence was saying either, which just got good laughs. Oh, Lawrence said it was a Monty Python reference, I think.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah, this is it's interesting how smooth this plane looks. Like it's easy to look at it and be like, oh yeah, this shouldn't be too tricksy.
I
And then you start modeling and you're like, oh yeah, no, this is actually in fact tricksy.
Yeah, and I didn't have to, right? Like this is one of those things where like, we could have simplified this and come out with a really good, maybe better version if we had kept things a little simpler. Oh well.
Rigo says that that Canopy is actually harder than it looks. So maybe you should sort of fudge your way through some of this, since you're going to have to navigate modeling the Canopy here at some point.
Man, don't you know I'm avoiding that? Doesn't
I
everybody know
mentioned
I'm avoiding it?
the Messerschmitt plane earlier, and what this is turning into is a messy spit, right?
Oh,
Like Spitfire. Oh yeah, nailed it.
nailed it.
It's always nice whenever you pick a topic, a thing you're going to model. This is something that Eric was just wondering, is because there's a handful of people that I think are obviously here for the Spitfire,
Right.
and then there's the regulars that are here for the SketchUp. There may be new people here for the SketchUp, but it's always cool to see people come in that have modeled like other stuff. There was a comment a little like while ago from, where was that at? It wandered down here. Oliver Martin, who said they literally just finished making a Spitfire in Blender. They wished you good luck, because yeah, it's not it ain't no simple thing.
Because it ain't simple, and we're using kind of a different set of tools. So love to see your version, and if you have any advice to share, may not apply to our nice SketchUp environment, but thank you. There is some stuff like this. Like I'm getting caught up in some of the cross sections where when we create the wing and blend it into this whole little piece goes away. So Mistakes were made. Trying to figure this out in real time. Being more or less successful, less over here, but
Yeah, and you haven't even gotten into the Curvilofty bits.
yes, I have. That's what all of the messy stuff is.
Oh, okay. I thought you somehow did that with stitching.
Oh
I'm
no.
not paying attention. I'm reading text over here.
Oh yeah.
I don't even know what you're doing. You could be modeling a bus for all I know.
I am. It's an amazing bus. You just don't know it. But it's an amazing bus.
It's a one-seater, right? Or one can only fit one human in that thing?
Yes.
Or half an American? Ooh,
But
got jokes.
Oh man.
Sorry.
My brother yesterday was sharing fat jokes. With me. He's like, what do girls say? A woman might say, I'm feeling fat. And someone's like, no, you're not. You are beautiful. What do guys say? Man, I'm feeling fat. And his friend tells him, no, I know 5 fat guys. You're only 4 of them.
But
yeah.
Sick burn dog.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Are we
I love
yet?
that Ricos he's the expression, the phrase he's using for you not neglecting that canopy is don't turn your back on it, which is great. It's sort of akin to the don't sleep on this thing. Yeah, he's saying don't it's going to sneak up on you. I do love me some unique regional turns of phrase such as that. At least it's not in my region. I'm not sure where he technically is.
You know what? We're again. Let's get some setting expectations dialed in here. I'm very sorry, Rico. That canopy is not going to get the love it deserves. It's just not. I can tell where we're at right now. Like, we're going to have a half finished. Like, the last 5 minutes of this will be doing this.
Tyson scrambling to get whatever pieces to make it not look like it's literally just 2D along the wings and just a nice solid fuselage. I think we were actually modeling spacecraft whenever
boom
broke down what all the different parts were, like fuselage.
It'll probably not even be even. I'll be like, something like that, something like that.
You need to Bob Ross it.
Happy little wings.
Happy little wing.
Okay. This is why we don't do experimental stuff. This is why, like, simplified dummy.
Well, hopefully at the very least, everybody following along at home gets to waller in your misery alongside you.
Yeah. They're all miserable right about now. That's for sure. Like, what?
If they're feeling what you're feeling.
Why did we come to this today?
I don't think so. They probably would like to see most of a completed plane, though. I know I would.
Yes, I would love that too.
Maybe I can. Maybe there's something I can say to make this better for you.
Yeah, please. Make it better for everybody.
So Nico, who I believe is new to this, said that a few months back he designed a 3D printable Cub-inspired plane. Was wondering how you smooth the transition between bulkhead and indices.
Well, first you got to tell us what indexes are.
Oh, okay. So which part's the bulkhead?
I presume
There was a time where I would just immediately be like, I know what all these things mean. And now, the older I get, I'm just like, probably means this. I don't know.
Mm.
My perspective has shifted, apparently.
Maybe not everybody was here with us at the beginning, but we established this is thing 1, that's thing 2, that's thing 4. That's so the transition. I don't know. Do you mean, for us that the body here and the wings, the transition between those, or the transition? You're talking 3D printing though, so he's trying to create something watertight. Which
And
is
it's at the bulkhead is the
different.
lateral support structures along the fuselage.
Okay, so, but we're not going to see
Nico
those.
said bulkhead or index for extruding, smoothing as in chamfering. So maybe just how to tie it together. Yeah, as you said, watertight.
Oh, as in like in this example, the wing will be different than the how to make it one piece. That is a good challenge because you're right. You've got to. Well, a lot of stitching.
Okay.
Or a lot of
So
intersecting and figuring out where your points are. Yeah. So I guess the first question, have you done 3D printing with SketchUp before, and are you familiar with the cleanup and the solid inspector? I guess that's where we'd start, because that at least will identify the stuff that you need to be concerned about.
True. Yeah, they don't want to have steps in the taper between the fuselage and the wings. Hashem actually described bulkhead, which is what I understood it to be. It's the part between the cockpit and the engine compartment.
This piece right in here.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's just finding a good way to tie the wing to the fuselage. Ricos really wants you to work on that canopy.
Man,
I feel like
I really don't.
For the sake of the model, the real deal with this is you've got to have this thing has to have wings more than a canopy for you to get considered a 80% done model.
We do. We have to at least have. We got to at least have this part done, and that.
His comment, though, about the cockpit is that the top should slide back onto along the body, and I don't see how it's going to do that with what you've got modeled.
It won't. I did it wrong.
Okay.
Full stop. I misinterpreted what I saw, and you're right. That's entirely wrong. So
it's going to stay wrong. So this is as I said earlier, this is a Mark Tyson.
It doesn't have to stay wrong, but yeah, it's.
We'll clean it up in post.
Well, here, let me tell you a little. Yes, it's wrong back there. I know it's sitting and maybe driving some folks a little crazy. Here's a little insight into Tyson's fragile ego. I know I did this wrong, and I'm questioning the whole approach to how we did this at all.
So
I need a win. I need a simple win, and a wing is something we can do.
Yeah, that's the beauty of where we're at right now. Is realistically, if Tyson were modeling this on Tyson's, on Tyson time, then you will have stopped and been like, we're starting over. But because you have a timeline here, you're like, well, you just gotta keep marching forward.
Yep.
What would Aaron do?
Well, I'll tell you, I think from the start, he would have been like, I'm not doing that. I'm not.
Let's remember there are two
Dummy.
kinds of people. There are stupid people that just latch onto projects like the Sydney, the Bay Bridge. Wait, the Bay Bridge? No, what's it called?
Oh, I've done the Sydney Opera House and the Sydney Bridge. We did both
Yeah,
those
it was the Opera House, I guess.
because
Right.
that much of
Like
punishment.
somebody comes in and it's just like, you should do this. And Aaron, for years, is like, I'm not doing that. And then Tyson comes in and it's like, sure, I'll try that. And then Tyson tries that. And this is what I love best. You can talk smack about your ego all day long, but you will step in here and try these things, even if they're two. Even if you screw up, you'll come back and you'll screw up again. Not to say you screw up repeatedly, but that you're always willing to give it the old college try. So I'm apologizing on Tyson's behalf to anyone that is concerned about that canopy, to everyone that is concerned about that canopy, because that canopy that ship has sailed, so to speak, for this build.
So to speak. Okay, well.
Now, Aaron did do the Cobra.
Mm-hmm.
And failed just horribly. I feel like you were doing a lot better than Aaron did on that Cobra.
Okay. If we put that out there, and we always sort of go back to that, be like, you cannot fail that bad.
Right.
That's
right.
Then it just makes it.
As long as we thank Aaron for having a couple of like good proper. Wow, you really stuffed that one.
Really?
No offense, Aaron. I don't even think Aaron's here anymore to hear me disparaging his talking smack about his past works. But this is all said with much love, Aaron. Now, so let's, accepting that you might not get here. The cockpit that you kind of did feels a little more like the Mustang cockpit, which honestly, I feel like that is what really looks different to me. Like if I'm looking at these and saying I like one of these more than the other, I like the cockpit on the Mustang more than I do the Spitfire. I don't really like the design. I don't like the look of it.
What's
there,
also interesting, what's interesting is I think, and probably this version gets, if you search for Spitfire, this later version has that bubble canopy, has some things, because earlier versions didn't, and they had the more.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at I guess this is the Mark 9, and this looks a lot like the Mark 9. Yeah, there's a version where your cockpit is pretty close to right. Hey. So, to any Spitfire purists, sorry guys, this is an artist's representation. How's that? That sounds good, right?
It sure does. We're going to make this transition a little better, more like the one up here. I'll use the space to do that. I don't know how I'm going to do the cockpit. I still don't know.
Well,
and we're out of time to figure it out. Yeah, well.
I'm sorry that's the case.
Let's make this. Something like that. It should help get us there.
I think since there is still some talk about that canopy, I think that probably it should be stated that the canopy you end up building is going to be your version of what fits in what's there. Like there may not be the canopy that gets done may not be a proper Spitfire canopy. You know
Well,
what? We'll blame this all on Matt, who prevented you from doing the Mustang you wanted to do in the first place.
oh
This is
man,
Matt's fault.
right? This is Matt's fault. Thanks,
Send
Matt.
your hate mail to Matt.
Matt at it's my fault.
It's Matt's fault at SketchUp.com.
Well, and we don't have time to do. I would like to figure out a way. Obviously, we could poke at this. I want to figure out a way to create the seat that doesn't look terrible. We already did it. Doesn't look great. If we're not using something like vertex tools and sub D, if we're just using the tools we have, I'd still think it would be interesting to me to try to figure out a better way to make that look. What we could do with the canopy, of course, in the interest of, let's select this. What? I'm trying to paste in place. Is grab these, transition, and throw a canopy on top of there. And that, that's probably all we have time for. I would love to actually figure out a better way to show what's going on there. And we still have a lot of other things to go. We're not crossing the finish line today.
Wah, wah.
No.
Yeah, I feel like the one thing that makes the Spitfire cool looking is all the little exhaust guys out there that are literally spitting fire. And thus the name. So that's the part that I'm sad to see not make it.
Well, we have time. I just say we're not getting everything dialed in. Those we can do because they're all the same. That should be. So let's just. Let's see if we. I don't know what those look like, so we're gonna make it up. Let's do a regular sided circle. And that is going to come out here, and then we are going to create another one. Rotate it. Smaller. And then maybe, just because we don't know what it looks like.
There, Keggy supporting your early model non-sliding bubble canopy. Non-bubble canopy.
Oh, well, thanks. It is what it is. Let's say that this is our little thing. So it comes down to here to here. So we'll use our transition, and from here to here, and here, we're just going to pull that, grab it, align the axis so that we can use the scale tool to dial it in. So that's reset our axis. I don't know, Jody. You were the one that called that out. Is that
Looks good to me. Looks huge. Picture I'm
yeah,
looking
that
at
it
tiny,
does.
but I'm looking
That
at a
it
tiny
does.
picture.
Um,
I mean, it looks like, so yeah, someone said earlier as a 12-cylinder engine, right? So there's 6 of those
Yeah.
on the side.
yeah. So it's something like that. And yes, it's smaller and most of that we won't even see. So be it. Yoo-hoo. It's up here somewhere.
That's interesting. I just noticed that Matt had commented a long time ago asking you to turn off your notification sounds. Did you do that? I don't ever hear them
Oh, I
from
did
my
not.
side.
I'm sorry if everybody's getting those little dings. I would totally go do that, except for I fear that would drag us through something. I don't. Let me just. All right, is that still working? I'm just muting my speakers.
I still hear you good.
That may do it.
Huh.
Oh
So Transom
man,
asks
I
the question. Oh, I didn't see the context.
botched this one as far as thinking how much we could get done.
So yeah, what you do is you leave this for Eric to finish up next week.
Okay.
You okay, man?
How
Just
do
breathe.
we
Stitch it to hand
try
stitch the rest
to
together. Big
get
old
this
gappy
to
stitches.
some semblance of a finished state? We do this guy. Jody, why didn't you tell me from the start? Tyson, you dummy. Don't do that. You've called out my ridiculous ideas before.
I feel like Schadenfreude is a real thing.
Oh, see, all right, notifications. I can't hear anything. Sorry. So, say that again.
Nothing. I was being silly.
Oh. What?
Nothing of import. Nothing of value. I mean, you did say going into this that you were concerned about your ability to cross the finish line with it. I think that's fair.
I did.
I think anybody following along at home should be able to appreciate that this is a heck of a project for 90 minutes of work.
Okay, that's a hack. Because that has a much cooler swoop than we've given it. Um,
We'll call this the misfire. Huh?
uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Oh man. I'm still I'm still curious though. For anybody out there, um, I think there's something to be salvaged in this, like between these two methods, where you really they're kind of the same thing, but in one you're using the scale tool to do a simple shape modification, and the other you're using Fredo's Curviloft to do a more complex shape transition. Somewhere between the two of those, there's still something in here that I think is still, still can make something work with some more practice. This is like you got to jump in and figure some of this stuff out sometimes. But I would be curious to see if anybody has ideas, has tried stuff like this, has better used Curviloft, anything, any suggestions for like a future iteration that would work better.
Yeah. Are you saying this? You're going to do this again in the future,
No.
but you're going to do it right?
No.
No.
But I'm saying I trust that there are folks smarter out there that you know. All right, let's pull a version of our
Yeah. Now I'm conflicted from looking at the Spitfire exhaust ports. Maybe it does look as cool as a Mustang.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Well, way to own your yeah.
My biases, my changes.
Yes.
The ceiling on the Spitfire is 43,000 feet. It's only 41.9 for the P-51. Now, were you enough into planes? Do you remember like what the letter code is on all the different planes? Like F for fighter.
No.
I think there was F
Certainly
and
not.
the B's for bomber. I don't remember what the P stood for though. Anybody following along at home now? Nobody's in the U.S. I don't even know if you guys cared about U.S. planes and our naming conventions for all the U.S. planes.
So like a P-47, which tended to be more of a like ground attack plane than a fighter plane.
Maybe, or maybe they just
The
didn't come up with they didn't start using F until like they came out with the F-14 and all of those guys.
yeah, I do not know.
Pursuit. Okay. Studio article said it's P for pursuit. Several people did. Okay. So like fast, smaller dogfighting kind of planes. That makes sense.
Okay.
So what else is there? So there's T for trainers. F for fighters, B for bombers. Is there another kind of plane? I don't recall.
Don't know.
Everybody wants you to, acknowledging that you have not finished it, why don't you just make up a cockpit?
Yeah, will do.
It won't necessarily fit, but it'll be that dang old. Oh, okay. AT. What was the Warthog? That was
That's an A-10.
That's an A-10. So A just by itself is attack. Oh, C for cargo.
Okay.
R for recon. Is there
Oh.
there an R plane?
Um, Like, what's the Nightwing or stuff? Is that right? Nighthawk, Nightwing, something. Okay, we will make up a cockpit, and with that in mind, we're just gonna have to transition these two. I don't like it. I'm sorry, everybody. I do not.
You gave it the old college try, man.
Sure enough.
So Wikipedia's got a list of different codes. They've got A for attack, C for cargo, D for drone. That's new. E for electronic warfare. That's new. Fighter. H for search and rescue. K for tanker. L for modified for cold weather operations. O for observation. M for multi-mission. Spec ops. Jeez, I did not realize there's so many codes.
Didn't know you were gonna.
Not quite 26, but a lot. Well, look at that. S is an anti-submarine. Well, now I want to know what some of these planes look like. I want to see an S something. Yeah, the A-10 was a ground attack, I think. That sounds right. A-10 was... That's probably... The Warthog is probably my favorite old plane. And I didn't even realize like they're designed to be able to just take off in this complete horrible ground conditions. Like I saw some... Wait, A-10's not a Warthog. Is it the Warthog?
It is, yeah.
And it's also the Thunderbolt. Okay.
That seems right.
Yeah, there was a time in my youth when I was way more into cars and also way more into airplanes. But that time's passed. Apparently.
Man.
GAU 8. Now I gotta look up what a GAU 8 looks like.
GAU 8.
Jeez, that's just a gun, that crazy Gatling gun. It must be the Gatling gun that's on the it's on the A-10. Yeah, that's a frightening weapon. Transom said he thinks you're doing a great job. Oh man, that canopy. Are you going to modify that canopy?
Or is that just I thought I had a component here and I did not. My bad. At the end, a couple things happen. I mean, I already have my graveyard of pieces and also just throw in components and stuff. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so apparently the A-10 is sometimes called the OA-10. I want to know why. Why does it have the O sometimes? Sorry, I'm wandering down my own rabbit hole over here.
That's okay.
You just do it. You do whatever you want. I'm just going to sit here and read about airplanes.
I am. Meant.
I don't know. It just appears to be used completely synonymously. Yeah, transom, all the lofting stuff. I mean, I think anybody that's tried it is completely sympathetic to what you're dealing with. So. And that's probably why so many people would like to see you do it, is because they know, they're just like, oh my God, this thing is going to be so hard to do. How's he going to do it?
Me too. I want to see it too. Let's can we volunteer Aaron to figure it out? Like, here's one of us stumbling through it, but here's Aaron.
You remember earlier whenever I pointed out that Aaron just will not even try things if he doesn't feel like it's going to happen?
Well,
yeah, I don't think he's going to try and step up to this.
He's smarter. Try some of these things. There's a lot of this plane missing. Let's get rid of some of these lines. So at least we're... Where did my plane just go? I thought I just hit it. And now it's nowhere to be found.
Did you delete it? Because I do that sometimes.
Maybe. Okay. Undo.
Paul says, don't sweat, Tyson. You have 3 minutes.
That's right. Hey, take us through our outro, Jody. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us on this lovely adventure.
There is no outro. I'm going to just sit here in silence until you're done.
Hide. I just hit it. Oh, I wasn't in the right context. Oh, I can't do that. Now I can hide it.
Okay. OV10. Oh yeah, that is a funny looking plane. The OV10 Bronco has dual tails, and then it's got like a connector between the two.
Dual tails. The I do really like, what is it? The P. I can't remember, but like, it's not the only one. But in the U.S., the plane that does it has like 2 bodies. There's some interesting planes out there. Okay, I must still have some surfaces in here. Well, thanks everybody. Thanks for playing along. And joining us for,
Well,
coming along.
we'll get it
as far as we got.
We'll get it next time, buddy. We'll get it next time. We'll get something next time.
Can't get them all. At this point, I'm... Hide.
You could save. Is it worth saving? Who
Nope.
knows?
It's not worth saving. Nope, this one goes in the scrap bin.
Okay, so there's plenty of lessons to be learned here today. 1, don't drink before modeling sessions.
Dang it.
Save that for after.
Yep. Here's a tail. Whoop. Awesome, right? Well. Oh well.
Bill's comment was, Canopy is about 3 meters too far back. Yeah.
Hey, you know what? If that was
the worst of your mistakes,
if that was the only thing wrong, we're doing better than.
True.
Oh well.
It does. I mean, once you turn off the lines, it looks like a great starting point.
This I do, right, like this is one of those things. I haven't really tried that before. I do think there's something there that can be sort of explored. Obviously I didn't really nail it down, but I think there's some pieces there that could work. Yeah. But thanks anyway, for everybody, for coming along that journey, that learning journey that we went on.
Thanks for being there with us through this through these trying
right.
times.
Thanks, Jody, for staying here, enduring through this. Next week's going to be amazing. Eric's going to come in and be like, okay, wow, mouthwash that last one. That was awful.
Let's be clear. This model is not going to go up into the 3D warehouse today unless it is there for people, giving people the opportunity to expand and build their own plane.
You know how if you put something on the internet, it stays forever. I want this to go into the trash bin. I don't want this to
if I didn't
survive.
If I didn't come in with expectations of seeing the Spitfire, then I would say that is a great model. Because again, your worst efforts are still better than my best. So,
not today.
Maybe today.
Anyway, so join us next week. Without suggesting,
yeah, I look forward to seeing how rendering goes. I think